Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside. Hey scrappers, Tom from iScrap, and today is Wednesday the 19th. We're going to do kind of a Q4 preview for the scrap world, the metals world going into the last 3 months of this year. Just to give you guys an overview of what I think is going to happen, things that I've learned about, and kind of go from there. Of course, if you're always looking for more information, you can become a YouTube member where we have additional videos that get posted. You know, not every week. We have a lot of breaking market news that we'll really send to a lot of these YouTube members, as well as specialty scrap secrets. So if you're looking to learn more about the scrap market, please join the YouTube membership today. What's going on with the markets? Well, copper prices, let's just start there, right? Or we can go kind of ABCs: aluminum, brass, copper, steel. Aluminum. News out of the aluminum markets. After we saw a big decrease the first few months of this year, we have seen a nice stabilization over the last 2 months. That stabilization that we saw is now starting to pick up a little steam as they're talking about having Russian aluminum getting kind of banned from multiple markets. Now, that has caused a temporary increase in the prices, and going into the next few months, we're not sure how much of an impact that's going to have on the market. And here's one of the biggest reasons why, and that's going to go for any materials coming out of Russia. If the entire world kind of blacklisted Russia and wasn't buying anything from them, this would be major news, right? It would be major oil news, natural gas news, and natural metals news. The issue is that the Chinese, the Indians, India, and many other countries are continuing to buy commodities from Russia. If they're buying commodities and they're using those commodities to make new products, myself, might be continuing to buy Russian-made commodities without ever knowing it. And that means that we're not going to see a big run-up in the markets, right? So that's kind of the aluminum side of things. Now, brass. Brass is something where nationally we've seen yellow brass prices around $1.80 to $1.90 per pound. Now, brass, of course, is going to be affected from zinc and from copper prices, both of which have been relatively stable. Now, red brass prices, also known as bronze, and if you're looking to learn more about red brass, how to really learn what it is and sell it better, we have a lot of videos and articles on our website, which, while I'm on the subject, is getting another brand new refresh in Q4 2022. We've been working on it for about a year, and not only is it going to be having better features, it's going to have more commodities, it's going to have more information on there, and it's going to really help you learn about what's going on with the markets in a better way. So we're super excited for not only our new website, but our new mobile website coming out in Q4 for iScrap. Now, red brass is something that a lot of people do not take advantage of. And we've talked about tips on how to find red brass, and you'll be able to search our YouTube page or go to iScrapApp.com and search our articles learning about red brass. But that's something that you're going to want to really focus on, as red brass has more copper in it and can be worth 20 to 30 cents more than your general yellow brass prices. Now, after our A, B, and C's, let's hop into that, that C category, copper. Now, this morning, copper prices have been trading relatively steady over the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've seen the prices hovering in the $3.40 to $3.45 range when it comes to trading. Now, a lot of the national prices that are listed come from you reporting prices throughout the country. So don't forget, when you're on the go, use your app, report the prices. This way you know where the markets are, other people can learn about them. And one of the biggest comments that I've seen on YouTube is people, not knowing about the markets. But if you're posting prices and other people are posting prices, that's going to help you learn more about the markets and help you make more money on your scrap. Now, with copper prices being stable, I was reading an article about what happened in March 2020 when everything was, the chicken little, the sky is falling. But what happened to copper? Copper prices kind of stopped dropping at a point. They said, whoa, 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 whoa. While stock markets are going away and things are shutting down, you still need copper. Whether it's for general electricity, whether it's for your markets, whether it's for your EVs, whether it's for infrastructure, right? Copper is going to be needed. And that's one of the things that we've really seen in the last few months with the copper prices kind of leveling themselves out. Sure, they're not trading at $4.50 like they were last year, but we still see a really strong price point, and we think that that can remain for the foreseeable future where it is. So many of you ask us, hey, when should we sell? Or I'm holding and I'm waiting for copper prices to rebound. Well, what would I say to that for 2023 and the fourth quarter of 2022? I move material every 2 to 3 days at Rockaway Recycling. I have other scrap yards that I am friends with. They move material every week as well. They're not holding on to things. They don't see a market having a rapid increase in 2023, especially when all of the news outlets and the major economists, worldwide banks such as JP Morgan and many others are predicting something that I think that we're already in, a recessionary period. Recessionary periods do not have large increases in commodities, maybe other than oil prices potentially going up. So that doesn't bode well for the scrap market, seeing a large increase compared to last year's markets. Do I think we're going to have copper return to the $4 level? Absolutely, it's going to happen again. You have inflationary periods, you have high demands, you have big booms in the economy. But after the slingshot that was 2020, where the markets pulled back, they kind of got released into 2021. Things were needed quicker, causing price inflation. And that's one of the many reasons we saw copper go to the level that it was. Now, going into 2023 and the fourth quarter of this year, 2022, I don't see that happening. I see automakers like Ford producing cars but being hundreds of microchips per car short, being emblems short, right? What does that have to do with scrap? Well, that means that there's going to be a slowdown because as Ford has tens of thousands of vehicles sitting outside their factories, they can't finish them. If they can't finish them, they don't need more metals. If they don't need more metals, you're going to see prices go down, and that leads us from ABC into the S, which is steel. Now, steel markets, I think, are pretty good. I think they probably should be $30 or $40 a ton higher. And I have a different perspective on steel than a lot of people do, as I trade a lot of it, but I don't process it as much as other yards and other scrappers. Now, steel prices, to me, they're great. They, 6, 7 cents a pound for some heavy steel, 5 to 7 cents for light iron. Rotors could be still in the 12 to 13 cent range, right? I look at steel as a necessary evil. You got to move it because by moving steel, it gives you access to copper. A great example is an air conditioner. All this light iron, this light tin around an air conditioner leads you to the ACR, the aluminum copper coil, or the aluminum coil. It leads you to the electric motor, the wiring harness, the sealed unit, right? But if you're moving other metals, sometimes steel, you throw it onto the truck, you drop it off at the scrapyard, and you're not looking to make a major score. Sometimes, especially nowadays with prices on fuel going back up, you might want to just break even, pay for your fuel costs, and focus on finding that non-ferrous. So when you see those steel prices increasing again, that's what makes you additional money, and that's what we saw in 2021 and the beginning of 2022. Steel prices going up helped you make more money, right? For the same amount of work. And if you listen to my videos and take any of my advice, or at least listen to it, you want to be able to live on X. And if you're able to have X amount more money coming in from scrap, that's when you should be either saving, reinvesting in tools. So when things slow down, now you have better equipment. Now you have better tools. Now you might have a couple of extra bucks in the bank for a rainy or snowy day as we go into the winter. So steel prices are still relatively strong, with light iron being reported between 5 and 8 cents per pound. Heavier grades of steel in the 7 to 12 cent range. If you wanted to put that in tons, 150 to 220, 230. And then some higher grades of steel like rotor, still 11, 13 cents a pound, 220 to 270 per ton. For the overall markets on the catalytic converter side of things, well, I still think they've been relatively strong. RRCats.com holds prices for 10 business days, offers free shipping on catalytic converters that are all OEMs, and you can always get free quotes from the team at RRCats.com. But palladium, platinum, and rhodium have really leveled themselves out over the month of September, and with an average price per cat around $157 for OEMs, maybe a little more today, let's call it 160, we still think that these markets are very strong and very good to go after. The longer you hold on to things, the longer of a gamble you're willing to take. Going into the fourth quarter, I don't know if I would be gambling at all. With markets going into a new year, 3 weeks from now or less, 2 weeks from now, whatever it is, we have a midterm election season. We could have a change in the Senate. We could have a change in the House. And that could change what laws and what things are happening for the second half of this presidential term, which will also affect the markets. These are all things that we look at, and that's why October in election cycles are always wishy-washy times. The second half of December, if not the entire month of December, because of the holidays, traders and larger corporations and organizations like banks generally start to peel money off the table to get ready for the tax season, right? So what do I look at? I don't know. I look at people having up and down markets for the rest of the year. I don't think that we're going to have any crazy price swings. I was talking to scrappers earlier today, and they were asking me what I thought about the markets. I don't think I keep telling them, look at my shop. There's nothing here. We get it in, we get it out. We move material constantly. We've given tips out before. We've been reading stuff about scrapyards not showing prices. That's BS. Not showing the scales. That's like BBBBBS, right? That's the biggest load that you could see. And these are the things you should start to look for. Now, we know that back in September and October, we've seen a couple of hurricanes. It could affect the scrap markets, but generally not as much as you would think. These are questions we've seen on YouTube. While scrap will be created, the hurricanes are more of an impact for the oil season, like we talked about last month with Mark. And we haven't seen a big impact on pricing from hurricanes, especially when they're hitting smaller, isolated areas. If they were hitting large areas like India that were producing a lot of scrap, that could hurt. One of the biggest things that I'm going to look for when it comes to kind of the markets in the first quarter of next year is this craziness over in Europe. I'm seeing that different smelting and manufacturing operations are shutting down to a lack of gas. That could start to drive up the pricing on scrap the first quarter of 2023, because if you take Europe out of the equation, or parts of Europe out of the equation, now the scrap has to flow to other areas or stay here in the United States. So I don't know where the markets are going to go. I really think that we're at a good spot. If you were going to ask me, Tom, what should I do? I'm holding 500 pounds of non-ferrous. I'd tell you to cash it in, because a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, and having that money ready to make you more money is not a bad thing. I actually had a really good conversation with a scrapper, and he told me that he watched my videos. is in person at Rockwell Recycling. He goes, I go around and I get scrap from people, and people have told me that they want money for their scrap before, and I never did it. Because I listened to a couple of your videos, and I actually took $1,000 and I started buying some scrap from people, from electricians, instead of just, hoping to get free stuff. He goes, then I stripped some of the wire with some of the wire strippers that we've had on our website and our YouTube page before. We have some links on those through iScrapApp.com. He stripped some of the cable down, got some Bear Bright, made some more money. So these are other things that you might want to think about. Spending money on scrap from electricians, plumbers, where you can clean that yellow brass into red brass. These are things that can make you more money. And in some of the videos we have coming for our YouTube members, we're going to talk more about that in the coming weeks, especially going into the holiday season. So scrappers, listen, I think we're still in a good market. Stop hoarding steel. Move that stuff out of your yard, especially, when you have your neighbors knocking on your door or towns knocking on your door. Got the holidays coming up. Cash that scrap in before, the holidays are over. We generally see slowdowns in January. In December, we'll have a couple of previews based on the ABCs. We'll have at least 4 videos coming out, one on aluminum, one on brass, one on copper, one on steel, maybe another one on catalytic converters and some miscellaneous scrap items to give you a preview going into 2023 and where we think the markets are headed. As always, post your prices. Be on the lookout for, you're going to get either announcements through the notifications on your iOS or your Android for our new website that's coming out. If you're looking for more information, check out that YouTube membership. And we always appreciate you guys tuning in. I really enjoy doing these videos every month, and I love getting to talk to people. I traveled to Colorado a few weeks ago, talked to a few scrappers and a few scrapyard owners, got different perspectives on things, and I have a couple of travel trips coming up where I learn about, scrap across the nation in different ways. So if you have any questions for us, or you want to even interview me or be interviewed and talk about scrap, let us know. Have a happy Halloween in a few weeks. We'll see what this election season pulls around. And until next week, I'll scrap you later.
Thanks for checking out this scrap video. For more exclusive scrap video content, please become a YouTube member of our channel today. Thank you, and I'll scrap you later.